Hey guys, welcome back. I asked you guys yesterday, if you follow us on Instagram, what video you wanted to watch next. I always like to do that because, the best way to give you the videos you want to watch is basically ask you. And of course, the one that won is you guys want to hear all the dirt, everything that goes on behind the scenes. So the one that won was, how do you deal with difficult clients? And so today we're going to dive into that. The very first thing that I want to mention is that if you're a photographer, if you're, if you're a florist, if you're anything, your number one job, I think in general, it's customer service. At the end of the day, no matter what we do, people will hire you because they like you. They're going to recommend you because they liked you. They're going to send their friends because they felt something good working with you. So always remember that we're in customer service first, and then everything else is secondary, basically. At least that's how I feel. So going off of that, let's say a client, a couple, whatever it may be, they bring something to our attention, something that they were displeased with or anything like that. The very first thing you want to do is you want to acknowledge what they're saying. Because if I call someone and I'm telling them, hey, something happened here and I'm not happy with this, and they go, no, that's how we do things, then I would have this knee-jerk reaction to argue. And it's the same thing with anybody that gives you a complaint. Acknowledge, okay, where did we go wrong? Or what happened where there was a disconnect and now this person is displeased? The very first thing I would say is acknowledge their feelings. Just make sure, listen to them and understand where they're coming from. Most of the time, people are very reasonable. It's very unlikely that you're going to run into someone that just wants to argue all the time. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hired you to begin with. So I always like to think, was there a miscommunication? Was there something that wasn't clear? So let's say somebody didn't understand exactly what your service was going to deliver. That might be something that maybe you didn't explain to them. One thing that I always mention to all of our photographers and just any photographer friend that I know is that we've been doing this year after year after year. So this may be our 400th, 500th, 600th wedding that we're shooting, but remember, this is their first wedding. So everything needs to be clear. Explain to them how many photos they're gonna get, what kind of style you guys shoot. Make sure that everything aligns with what they want. So that way the expectations are clear. That, I think, is gonna save you a lot of stress. Them and you is gonna save both of you guys a lot of stress if the expectations are clear, so that way the expectations are met when you finally deliver everything. Another thing that I think is huge is focusing on the solutions, not the problem. So if something already happened, there's no sense in focusing on what went wrong. Focus, how can we make this better? Most of the time, people just want to hear a good solution to their problem. So be that person that helps come to a good resolution. Don't focus on what went wrong, because that's not going to help anybody. Here's a major key. One thing that I tell everybody that I come in contact with, because some people sometimes they'll tell me hey, this client's being unreasonable, or they told me, they're not happy with this or anything like that. This is the reason why, whether you were the dream client or whether you were not the dream client, maybe a little difficult, you guys won't know, because the main advice that I give is if somebody's being a little difficult, treat them like freaking gold. Make sure that you go above and beyond to make sure that they're happy. If they email you, email them within 30 seconds. Get back to them, because the worst thing that you can do is if somebody complains to you and then you take 4 days to respond to them, they're going to think that you don't care about their problems. And that is the worst thing you can absolutely do, especially when you're already going down that road of they may not be as happy as you want them to be. So treat them like gold. Make sure you go above and beyond. This should be happening anyway, but especially when something has gone wrong, maybe. That way it works on two sides, actually. One, they feel acknowledged, they feel happy, they're being taken care of. And two, if this client is a nightmare client, which, let's be honest, if you handle with hundreds of people, eventually you're going to have one. And that's fine. But here's the thing. We don't, or at least I don't, focus on that one person sucking the energy out of me. What I do is I make sure I take care of them. I go above and beyond for them. I answer everything really quickly. We resolve it really fast. So then that way I can get back to my 99 other clients that I freaking love, and they are amazing to us. Because if we extend this and this goes on for 3 months, that's a headache that you're dealing with for 3 months. So if you deal with it in 3 days, you moved on, everyone's happy, and now you can go back to dealing and working with clients that you genuinely enjoy working with, and they're happy with you and you're happy with them. You can kind of see how obvious that seems. but that's kind of how you have to treat it. Make sure you resolve it quickly so that way you can keep moving. And on that note, that's something that I wrote is remember that for every 99 amazing clients that you're gonna have one that's problematic. It's not the end of the world. Don't let that one client that complained make you think, damn, I don't wanna do this anymore, or maybe I shouldn't be doing this. It's one person. And I mean, the more you encounter that or the more you deal with it and the better you deal with it and move on, the more confidence it's going to give you when the next person comes and maybe they weren't as happy as you wanted them to be. Now you know how to deal with it. You learn through every single adversity that you get. So don't let that one client that's complaining and all that bring down the energy of the entire organization. That's just part of owning a business. Deal with it and keep your life moving. Make it just a small blip in your radar, not taking over your entire month. Here's another thing. Think long-term marathon when you think about your organization, your company, your whatever it may be. Because is it worth it to argue with a client over $500, $1,000, whatever it may be, if that's what the issue is, when that discount that you give them because something went wrong and maybe they have okay, so here's something that has happened is years and years and years ago, I had somebody else shoot a job for us and they weren't unhappy because even she said she was super happy with the photos, all that, but they just felt they didn't get enough coverage of a certain portion. And I understood. I'm like, you know what? You are right. And because of that, now, whenever we have more than 300 guests, we recommend having a third photographer. So this is what I mean. There was a problem and then we dealt with it. They had a balance and I told them, forget about your balance. It wasn't that much left anyway, because I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I know that that's going to help them out a little bit. It's going to soften the blow a little bit. And at the same time, it's not a huge amount. So I was like, okay, keep the remaining balance. Don't worry about the overtime. I still paid my crew. Everything was fine on that end. I did speak with them and let them know of what just happened. Moving forward, I added in our packages that if you have more than 300 guests, to add that third photographer so that doesn't happen again. So basically, I'm learning from that experience moving forward. And that's all you can really do. Because if I sit there arguing with them about a few $100, she's not going to be happy, I'm not going to be happy, and nobody's learning anything from it. So instead of that, what ended up happening is after we resolved it, after I spoke with her, I let her know, I acknowledged, you're right, I think that there should have been more coverage of this. I think a third photographer would have been a good idea, and then don't worry about the balance, don't worry about the overtime, I'll take care of that. She even said at the end, when I do my maternity photos, I will contact you guys, and I want you guys to do it for us. And that to me is thinking long term. I wasn't thinking of just what's happening here. I was thinking of, let's make this person happy because, let's just make them happy. That's what we're here for. So it worked out well in the end. So that's what I'm saying is think long term and think about your reputation. That's way more important than a few dollars when you think about it. When you think about it, I'm in this for the next 10, 15, 20 years or longer. That's how you should approach situations. Don't think about the short term. I think the biggest takeaway from this video, at least from what I'm looking at the notes and what I'm thinking about, is it's thinking long term. I think that is very important. Remembering that you're in customer service above anything else, and that how you make people feel is what's going to dictate how successful you are in your industry. Focusing on solutions and not problems, because solutions is what's going to get the job done. Focusing on what happened is only going to frustrate everybody. So I think that that's a very important part of dealing with difficult clients. And keep in mind, they may not even be difficult. They may just be frustrated. Something else might be going on. Maybe they spent more on their wedding than they wanted to, and you're taking the brunt of it. That's all right. But just focus on what solution can we bring out of this situation. That's way more important than focusing on what happened. And the main takeaway going forward is how can we avoid this from happening again? So during that incident that I shared with you guys, what we do now is we have a minimum amount of group shots that our photographers have to take during cocktail hour. So instead of hoping that those shots get taken, we say this is part of our protocol. You have to take X amount of photos, and I think I have 20 to 30 groups. So if you do 20 to 30 groups and there's 5 people in each group, that covers a nice big chunk of the entire, of the guests. And that's our minimum, 20 to 30 group minimum. If you want to take more, go for it. And I tell the guys, just go in, hey guys, get together. Because at the end of the day, that bride, she wasn't wrong. She wants a representation of who was at her wedding. I get that. And that's what we're there for. So always come up with solutions so whatever problem you just dealt with, you won't have to deal with again. I'll say this, it's been like 3 years since we've gotten to that comment of, I wish we had more groups taken. And that's because we started implementing that. I said, hey guys, this year, this is the only complaint that we got, so let's make sure we take care of that. And that's pretty much it. Just learn from your mistakes. I mean, I think you could apply that to anything in life, but when it's with photography, the mistakes are so specific that it's very easy to come up with solutions so you don't have to repeat those mistakes again. I hope this video helped you guys. I tried to give you some specific examples so that way it's not so vague. If you have any questions, please let me know. Leave a comment below or feel free to send me a message and I will get back to you guys. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one.